Lady Diana Spencer's life was never meant to be ordinary, but in the early 1980s, not even she could have imagined what fate had planned. After her parents' divorce, Diana lived between her mother's home in Scotland and her father's estate at Althorp. She grew into a graceful, soft-spoken teenager with a deep love for children and ballet. She worked as a part-time kindergarten teacher in London, living a relatively quiet life. But all of that was about to change. In 1980, Diana caught the attention of Prince Charles, the heir to the British throne. Though he had previously dated her older sister, Lady Sarah, it was Diana's warmth and natural charm that stood out. The media quickly took notice. Rumors swirled about the two, and soon the world was watching. Charles was 12 years older than Diana. He was under pressure from the royal family and the public to settle down and choose a suitable bride. Diana, with her noble background, innocence, and beauty, seemed perfect in the eyes of the monarchy. She fit the royal image, and perhaps more importantly, she was well liked by the Queen. Despite their differences, Charles proposed in February 1981. Diana accepted. She was just 19 years old. When the engagement was officially announced, the news shook the world. People cheered, newspapers exploded with headlines, and television channels replayed the iconic moment over and over again. Diana and Charles posing together in the gardens of Buckingham Palace. But one moment raised eyebrows. When asked if they were in love, Diana replied with a shy, "Of course." Charles, however, said, "Whatever in love means." That phrase would echo through the years. Still, the fairy tale had begun. Diana was instantly thrust into a new life. The media followed her every move. Paparazzi camped outside her apartment. She couldn't leave her home without being swarmed. Suddenly, the shy girl from Althorp became the most photographed woman in the world. Her fashion sense began to evolve, from simple sweaters and skirts to elegant designer gowns. The world watched as she transformed from a reserved school teacher to a global style icon. Everything she wore sold out in shops. The Diana effect was real. But behind the glamorous headlines, Diana was struggling. The sudden fame overwhelmed her. She later revealed how she felt isolated, lost, and under constant pressure to be perfect. The royal family had strict rules, and Diana's open-hearted nature didn't always fit in. Still, preparations for the wedding went ahead. Millions watched as she chose her iconic wedding dress, a voluminous ivory silk gown with a 25-foot train designed by David and Elizabeth Emanuel. It was meant to be a dress fit for a princess, and it was. On July 29, 1981, over 750 million people around the globe tuned in to watch Lady Diana Spencer marry Prince Charles at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. It was one of the grandest weddings in history, with royalty, celebrities, world leaders, and millions of admirers lining the streets. As Diana stepped out of the glass carriage and walked up the steps in her elaborate gown, the world was breathless. She looked like a fairy tale princess. At just 20 years old, she had become Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales. But behind the perfect smile and fairy tale ceremony, cracks had already begun to show. Diana was battling inner turmoil. The pressure of the royal family's expectations, media attention, and a growing sense that Prince Charles still held a deep emotional connection to his former girlfriend Camilla Parker Bowles weighed heavily on her. Still, Diana was determined to play her role, to serve the public, to support her husband, and to grow into her new identity. In her first few months as a princess, Diana began to show the world the kind of royal she would be: warm, compassionate, and human. She connected with people on a level no other royal had done before, hugging children with AIDS, shaking hands with lepers, and visiting the poor and sick without gloves or distance. She didn't just smile and wave. She listened, she touched hearts, and she cared. This was just the beginning of Princess Diana's journey, one filled with love, heartbreak, transformation, and the birth of a legend.